Ma'am, do you still live here?
Yes, I do. I just can't take care of the yard anymore.
Then let me help you.
I thought everyone had already forgotten this was still my home.
I didn't know she was still living there until I knocked on her door. Sometimes a home can look forgotten from the street, even when someone inside is still fighting to hold on. I had just finished a lawn care job and was heading home when I noticed an old house with grass spilling over the sidewalk. The flower beds had disappeared beneath weeds, dry leaves covered the front steps, and thick bushes blocked nearly every window. From a distance, it looked like nobody had lived there in years, but something told me to stop. I walked up the driveway and knocked gently on the front door. After a few moments, an elderly woman slowly opened it. She looked surprised to see me standing there. "I'm sorry to bother you," I said. "I just wanted to make sure everything was okay." She gave me a tired smile and quietly replied, "I'm still here. I just can't keep up anymore." She told me she had lived in that house for over 40 years. Every spring, she used to fill the garden with flowers. Every morning, she swept the walkway before sitting by the front window with a cup of coffee. But time had changed everything. Her knees had become too weak to kneel in the flower beds. Her hands shook whenever she tried to trim the bushes. Even carrying a bag of leaves to the curb had become exhausting. Near the porch, I noticed an old broom leaning against the railing, a pair of worn gardening gloves on the steps, and a few small piles of leaves she had managed to gather herself. She hadn't given up on her home. She had simply run out of strength. Then she quietly admitted something that stayed with me. "The hardest part isn't the yard," she whispered. "It's feeling like people drive past and assume nobody cares anymore." I looked around the property for a moment before asking one simple question. "Would you let me help?" Her first response was exactly what I expected. "I can't afford to pay you." I smiled and shook my head. "I'm not here for money. I just want people to see your home the way you still see it." After a long pause, she nodded. I unloaded my mower, trimmer, rake, gloves, and leaf bags from the truck. I started by clearing the walkway so she could safely step outside again. Then I trimmed the bushes away from the windows, cleaned the porch steps, pulled weeds from the flower beds, and bagged every pile of dry leaves along the fence. Little by little, sunlight reached the front windows again. The walkway reappeared. The porch looked welcoming. By late afternoon, the house no longer looked forgotten. It looked loved. The elderly woman stepped onto the porch, rested her hand on the railing, and looked across the yard with tears filling her eyes. "I never stopped loving this place," she said softly. "I just couldn't take care of it alone anymore." That day reminded me of something I'll never forget. Sometimes an overgrown yard isn't a sign that someone has stopped caring. Sometimes it's a sign they've been carrying more than anyone can see. Before we assume a home has been abandoned, maybe we should make sure the person inside hasn't been left to face life alone. If this story reminded you of someone you love, leave the word home in the comments. And if you know an elderly neighbor who could use a little kindness, maybe today is the day to knock on their door. Thanks for watching.